Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Now, what was I talking about? My name is V Noir, and this week I am talking about Boots Riley's film. I love boosters. And if you were watching this on Patreon, which should be on my paid tier now because my RSS feed is back, you can see my cats in the background. I have them playing a game on my tablet so they can be distracted because I have my door fully closed. I am recording this later than I wanted to. I wanted to record this last night, but then I ended up, I don't know, other stuff just ended up happening. But I did upload a spoiler-free version of my review of this film. And it also ended up being like me talking about a bunch of different other stuff. Because I was like, oh damn, I really can't say too much because there's so much that happens in this film and it's like hard to not spoil anything. But I will say that during this review I will spoil like everything. Everything. It is kind of funny because apparently people were walking out of this movie as well, and I'm like, so y'all just hate whimsy. No. I don't know why I went away from the mic to laugh, but we will laugh on the mic, okay? Like we're gonna have some fun on the mic. I don't know why I'm saying or doing that, but I'm like seeing myself and I'm like, oh, okay. Um, oh, so yeah, before I do anything else, let me get into the synopsis, which I mean, it is kind of funny to read out a synopsis because I don't usually read the synopsis. I kind of saw the trailer, like previews of the movie beforehand, but I was like, I want to go into this completely blind. I don't want to know what's going to happen, like legitimately. So it is kind of funny and kind of fun to just read off a synopsis for the podcast because I'm like, I don't know if y'all are ever going to watch the movies that I talk about. I just like talking about movies, but stop recording briefly because my cats wanted to leave my room, of course, and now um they're both in my room and out of my room. I'm just like I didn't want to have to go back and edit out me getting up to leave the open my door and everything and also to edit the audio for the podcast version of this. The audio only podcast version of this because that would take more time and I'm already late to posting this today and so I want to make less work for myself. We love making, having less to do, right? Anyway, so to get into the synopsis, a group of shoplifters take aim at a cutthroat fashion maven by stealing her clothes and reselling them at a lower price when they call fashion what they call fashion forward philanthropy. Um, and I'm like, I guess. Well, okay, it's kind of funny to call them shoplifters. I mean, they are shoplifters, but the term is boosters or boosting. Like they're boosting clothes and everything like that, and so they're called boosters, like that's what the boosters in the title comes from. Um but man, this movie gets really crazy. And now my big guy is trying to leave the room. I hear him at the door. And I'm gonna stop again. Oh, my cats are probably like, what are you doing? Because I never have my door like fully closed, even for past episodes. Um, when I would be recording, like the door would be mostly closed so they could come in and out. But now they're like, you're closing the door fully. We can't leave and come back when we want to. What's going on? So this will be interesting. Um, But yes, so that is, I mean, the whole specifically going after a particular person um to boost from, that's like a little bit later because I mean in general they boost high-end stuff and then resell it to their community at lower rates. I mean that's what people who like steal and then resell do. They just do it for their community to make some cash and then also provide stuff. And like the whole thing about it being fashion forward philanthropy um, is like, sort of giving back to the community. And we do see little scenes of like there was this one mom and her child who were very thankful to them for always selling these clothes and stuff because they were able to have clothing throughout the school year and everything like that. So it's like, yeah, they are giving back and they what they're doing is meaningful for their community. I mean, and usually I'm like, because I feel like this film is similar to Sorry to Bother You. It's like it is based in reality, but it's also like an elevated reality where everything's a bit more exaggerated and not necessarily cartoonish, but it, Boots Riley's stuff can be a bit cartoonish in a way. And so similar to what was happening in Sorry to Bother You, where it was like an Amazon like entity sort of above everyone else and kind of cartoonishly evil, where they were going to be providing housing for their workers, and their workers would be dying at the assembly line and type that kind of stuff. And it's like, haha, why did that become a reality? Haha, I don't like this, Boots. But it's like it's one of those things where when you understand how capitalism works and how all of these systems in place work, um, you can kind of predict, how this shit's gonna evolve. So it's like, oh, haha, that was exaggerated and kind of silly. And not even a few years after that film did we, have things like that coming out of like Amazon warehouses and stuff. So and then, the fact that some of these corporations do want to create facilities for their workers to live in, and it'll be above like the factories or other sort of God, I forgot what the word's called. Factories or like assembly line type work, which is awful. But I'm trying to remember what this machine was called specifically. I forgot to note this down at first because I'm like, I wrote so many notes. But before I get into that, we have our lead, Kiki Palmer. Her name in this is Corvette, and her bestie is Sade, who is played by Naomi Aki, who we've seen in who I've talked about in Blink Twice. So this is such a change of character for her. Um, very fun, really. Uh, I'm like, ugh, Blink Twice was so like dramatic. I was about to say depressing, but more dramatic and everything like that. And she did a really good job in that. I still need to see Mickey 17, which is another movie she was in. And another friend, Mariah, played by Tyler Page. She was in Zola specifically, and I'm like, I love that movie, and I loved her in it. And also, she is in It, Welcome to Derry, the show on HBO Max. And all three of them make up the Velvet Gang. They're they don't call themselves that, but um Christy Smith, played by Demi Moore's character, calls them that. And Tyler Page. So I'm like, and this is to get into spoilers because I was already gonna watch this movie because Boots Riley, he does afro surrealism, and I'm like, I love surrealism. I love where he's going. I want to see more. I do need to see his show I'm a Virgo on Amazon Prime, I think. Still, so I'm like, I want to know what he did in between. Sorry to bother you, and I love boosters, but yeah. So there was a GIF going around of a scene where Tyler Page as Mariah, she she basically lowers down out of frame, and then she comes back up as Robin Thede, who's just playing a light skinned Mariah, basically. And I'm like, I wish I didn't see that GIF because out of context, that's really funny. I mean, in context, it's also really funny, but I lost some of the humor because I already saw it happen. And I was like, damn, I wish I didn't actually see that because I wanted this to be way more funny in person. And I mean, it was still funny, but I was just like, damn, that kind of took some of the funny out for me. But um, so yeah, all three of them, and so to get into why she did that, usually when they're boosting, it's the three of them that do the main boosting, and then they have essentially a white woman, which I don't know why I couldn't find her. I want to say her name was like Paige or something. I don't know who she was played by. Let me see if I can find her. If I can find her. Da-da-da-da, low class. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, because they just get into the other people, and I'm like, there was a white woman that was like a cover for them because basically they would be in there, and because they're, you know, obviously black, it's like they're gonna get, stereotyped into not being able to. Oh, maybe that's who Stevie is. I thought Stevie was um the assistant. Oh, I think this is her. But now it's like, who's the assistant? Oh my gosh. See, I was like trying to collect all the people. Oh, no, that's the manager. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of annoying. So there's a character named Stevie, and I'm assuming Stevie is the white woman. 'Cause I'm like, it's not that many white women in this cast, which is kind of funny. She's played by Rachel Walters. I'm like, maybe I'll just look up. Oh, I'm like, she was kind of not really in the movie for that long, and I think that's also why. I'm not really remembering what she looked like. I love posters. I'm like, please show me one image, just one. Yeah, I'm like, she was really barely in the movie, and we had to do the gag of Robin Thede doing a cameo because okay, so what I was trying to say was like, they usually when they're boosting, they it's the three of them, Corvette, Sade, and Mariah, who are the main we're gonna grab and go people. And then they have Stevie, I guess, uh, in as their white woman cover to distract the workers so that they can get away with it basically. But because Stevie wasn't available, um Corvette was just like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should do this another day. And Mariah was like, no, I have a trick. We can do this. If I just hold my breath, and then she lowers out a screen and then comes back up as Robin Thede. And then she comes out of it because she's like, oh, I'm out of practice. I haven't done this in so long. And it was just like, this is so fucking funny. What the fuck? To be in Boots Riley's brain, man, because like to come up with that, but I'm like, that's also kind of um that feels within the same realm of sorry to bother you comedy because of like the whole white person voice, and like rather than it's like a black person talking proper or whatever, similar to how I speak, quote unquote, and it's like shut the fuck up. um it was just like actual white people doing a voiceover like ADR in the film, and I was like, that's just really fucking funny. Like, but no, my cat wants to come in the room. I'm like, this is crazy. You're so funny. You guys are so funny. Um, and maybe I'll let him meow a little bit. If he's still meowing in a few minutes, I will pause again and just let him in. I'm like, ugh, my nose is itchy because of allergies. And I'm like, I did take an allergy med, and hopefully it'll kick in so my nose isn't itchy. I don't like itchy nose. Anyway, so that's the main crew. They boost. Um, Corvette is she's the main character basically, and she's kind of going through it a bit. She's squatting in a abandoned chicken restaurant. That's where some of the clothes that they boosted also lives. She is an aspiring fashion designer. She tried to actually send one of her designs to Christy Smith, and it got declined. But when they went in to boost from her, I was gonna say restaurant store, the design that got declined actually ended up showing up as like a new item in her store, and this is what kind of sets her off to wanting to just take from all of her stores. And but right before that, because at that point, before her design was stolen, she was looking up to Chrissy Smith. She wanted to be similar to Chrissy Smith, having a successful design business, fashion design business, and stores and stuff. Like, why not? Like, she's reading her autobiography and stuff. And so after they stole, after the whole Rob and Dee Dee, Lacey and Mariah incident, they oh, okay. Yeah, there we go. There was a cart, like a small cart for coffee, I guess, and something told Corvette that that would be going all the way up to Chrissy Smith's apartment, her condo or whatever, and she snuck into that and snuck into her apartment, basically, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, no, I was the manager of that person," you know, but she was also before talking to Christy Smith, she was able to overhear about these $100,000 suits that she was making. And, that was just like, oh, because Corvette is also in like a lot of debt and all this stuff. So she's like, she needs the money to, get her life back together. And so she tries to leave the apartment, but the apartment is slanted. So it's like this, like a Leaning Tower of Pisa type shit. And um I'm like, is that even livable? That's not livable at all. Apparently this is a building that is actually sinking in San Francisco, but I mean, I didn't know that. That's crazy. It's not leaning though. It's just sinking. Not leaning, sinking. And so um she gets oh, and this is kind of funny too because there's a lot of practical effects in this film. There's miniatures, there's puppetry, like stop motion, claymation type stuff in this movie too, which I was like, this is amazing. And so there's a scene where Kiki's trying to leave, and it's kind of very cartoonish because um her legs are kind of going in rotation because she's trying to get out of this slanted room and she can't. And that was like a practical effect where I'm assuming it was like kind of similar to like mannequin legs in like a circular thing that could be spun around to make this effect, and it was attached to her dress that she was wearing. So I was like, damn, that's cool. And I'm like, there is behind the scenes stuff coming up for me about this film that made me really excited to see it. And I'm like, this is so creative. This is like one of the most like creative things I've seen in a while. Oh my god, I keep moving my laptop. Um, and that's always inspiring for me because I'm like, I do love a practical effects moment. I do love a miniature moment. And it's inspiring to see just how far you can go, especially with a budget and with a team of people that can execute your vision. Because I'm like, yeah, no, there's no way I could do all of those things. Like, I would love to work with a puppeteer, someone who does miniatures and like special effects people. Um, and yeah, so after she finally escapes the apartment, then they try to boost another one of her. Why do I keep wanting to say restaurant? I'm not that hungry. Um, one of her stores, and that's when she sees the design, and she's like upset. And they, rather than like boosting everything, they because she needs a job. They all kind of do need a job, like extra money and stuff coming in. So they end up getting a job, and this is when we meet Grayson, played by Will Poulter, uh, Matt Massanen. Why can I not read right now? Violetta. I'm like it's like Mansion, but not Mansion. Who's played by he's played by Nija Bradley, who was in I'm a Virgo briefly, and Violetta is played by Isa Gonzalez, who was in Baby Driver and Three Body Problem recently. And they're just like workers. And we get introduced to them because they get their paychecks, and their paychecks are only like $38 and $43. And they're like, hey, so what the fuck is this? And Grayson is their manager, and he's like, oh, this is fucking silly because it was like their music was turned all the way up, which was like um high vibes or something, and it sounded like a club. And he was like, this is company mandated. And I was like, oh, he's behaving like one of those supervisors that are like ass kickers to the corporation and don't actually care about your workers, the people that are, having the direct contact with your customer base, who, if they're in a good mood, they can provide a better service to their customers and everything like that, and you'll get more revenue. And it's like you care more about this company than you do people. And I hate supervisors like that, especially when it's like a big corporation. And then of course they probably say like some shit like, oh, we're a family here. And it's like, so you're an abusive family, because this is not how I would like to be treated in a family unit. But I digress. So basically, he keeps answering their questions, turning the music back on, and finally tells them that like the uniform that they're forced to wear, which is the current collection from Christy Smith's store, that comes out of their paycheck. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean? So they only are getting paid $38 and $42 because they're being forced to wear clothing from the store. And it's like, you're literally a fucking clothing corporation. You could literally just write this shit off and give it to your workers to wear, because what do you mean? Like, literally, what do you mean? And that's what I was going to say about people who steal from companies as well, is usually like there's some sort of um I forgot what it's called. It's not like loss. Um, basically, there's a percentage that companies preemptively predict will get stolen, and they use that as insurance, and get kind of reimbursed for it and everything like that. And it's like, at least over here in America, you have to steal, um, I think either $500 or $1,000 worth of stuff for it to become like grand theft, which is why something a company like Target, their security system is so good that like some policemen use it because they're building cases on people in order to catch them and arrest them and put them behind bars for grand theft, right? Because if you're only stealing a little bit here, a little bit there, and it's less than that amount that I said, I think it's probably more than what I said. It might, I don't even know. And I only really know that amount because when I worked at the store called Good Vibrations, which is a boutique style sex store, like it was created in like the late 80s. So it was like more like feminist, um, centered, and trying to be more welcoming for women, specifically women as a clientele, because a lot of sex shops are kind of grimy and like kind of weird and like dark and shit. Um, I mean, it was cool to work there for a bit, and not to go too much on a tangent, but like, so when I worked there, I was like, why am I interacting with the cops more than I would like to? Because people would come in there and steal high ticket items because sex toys are expensive. And the store was set up where it would be like low end to high end. Usually people would be stealing like the vibrators, like more of like the magic wand type stuff. We had Lilo as a brand, and Lilo starts at like $200. So people would be stealing that kind of stuff. And then my manager would be having us call the cops on these people, and it's like, or they would go so far as to try to chase them, and I'm like, there is no reason for you to leave the store over someone stealing a sex toy. It is not worth your life. Literally just let it go. And like I said, there overhead, there we go. That was the phrase I was looking for. There's like a certain overhead that people are anticipating being stolen. And I mean, it did get to the point where it was like the same person stealing, and that's when the cops were talking about that. And that's how I got that information. So it's like, yeah, we could build a case on this person because of that, because they kept continually stealing toys from us. They're stealing dillies, which was like in shop nickname for dildos. But I mean, that was an interesting place to work. I gained more of an understanding on like my gender identity because I was working with other like non-binary, agender, trans people, and I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever actually thought about how I feel about my body and my gender presentation. And I was already like around people. I was already like an ally, quote unquote. And but really to sit, because there was definitely times where we just didn't have anything to do. So for me to just sit and think about that, helps. And this store also sold books, so I also read up on some things as well. I don't remember what the books are called. Sorry. Just go into the store, figure it out. No, I'm joking. And yeah, I was like, "Oh, that really helped me." And just like in general, um, I'm a pretty introspective person, and that was just like one of those things that I never actually really sat and thought over. And yeah, no, that was nice. I I gained that knowledge about myself, and um gender expression and identity is such a journey. It's a spectrum, and God, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, so yeah, it's like I think what was kind of fun about this too is like even though, they're boosters and everything like that, the fashion in this was so fun. And the to talk about the costume designer really quickly, uh Shirley Kurata, who also did the costume designing in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And apparently she only had like a month and a half or less to prepare for that movie as well as this movie for everything. And it's just like, oh my god, no wonder everybody looks fucking fabulous because Everything Everywhere All at Once being one of my favorite movies from 2022 along with Mr. Malcolm's List. Um like the costume design. It was so good. And it's like, okay, yeah, of course the costume design is it in this is good because she was behind it. I mean, obviously, there's a team of people, but she's like the lead person. And yeah, no, it was so good. And to sort of talk about the production design, do I want to talk about that? Let's see. I'm like, I have a list of so many things. I've already talked about. Oh, okay. Before I move on to the other characters, I do have to talk about the demon in the room, Lakeith Stanfield playing Pinky Ring Guy. I'm like, that's all it said in the IMDb credit. And I'm like, that's crazy. Pinky Ring Guy. And whenever he would talk, okay, so, because again, these are all spoilers. This is gonna feel like it comes out of left field, and I mean, it doesn't and it does. I'm like, what is her name? Because I wanna look Keith. But okay, so while Corvette is going through what she's going through, and she's trying to make this plan and everything, um, with boosting and trying to get her life together, this guy shows up and it's just like, there's a loneliness in you that I think matches my loneliness, and he's got an accent and everything like that. And the everything kind of slows down, and there's this like warping that's happening around his face and everything like that. And you're just like kind of drawn into him. And I was like, oh God, if somebody just said this kind of stuff to me, I would low key almost fall for it. But I am a healed person, and I'm a mostly healed person. I am a healed person, and I would probably do similar to what Corvette was doing. But I'm like, oh, he was just being so sincere. But it also just kind of felt like he was coming around as a distraction to her while she was trying to get her life together and everything like that. Which is why I was like, it feels like it comes out of left field, but it's like, no, he I mean, he might have had good intentions, but he's also a demon, first of all. He's also a demon, first of all. And he's coming around at the worst time ever. And so when the Velvet Gang is coming up with their plan of like working there in order to find out where Christy Smith is hiding these $100,000 outfits, so they can boost those and then sell them and then, be set straight money wise. All of a sudden, I think it's Mariah who brings this up. She's like, my home girl. Cause I'm like, God, what was her name in the actual thing? My homegirl ran into that guy that keeps running into you. And Metro Designers, that's the name of the store. I'm like, okay, there we go. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. What is the name? Oh, oh, okay. So it's actually Sade that talks about this. Sade is the one that talks about her homegirl, not Mariah, Sade, talks about her homegirl running into him and just like being really attracted to him and going over to bring him over to her place, I guess, and he goes down on her and then sucks the soul out of her pussy. And he's a demon. And his body transforms and it's just like his torso is normal and then the rest of his body is like demonic. And she's like levitating as her soul is getting drained out of her body to the point where her skin is cracking. And they're just like, isn't that crazy? And then we just move on. And it was just like, what the fuck? But apparently, the person who got their soul sucked out is actually his Lakeith Stanfield's real life wife, and I'm like, actually, that's really cool to have like this sort of very um, intimate scene in a movie be done by someone that you've probably actually done this to in real life. And I saw somebody comment like, actually knowing that y'all are actually married in real life, it's like, were we watching porn just now? um, but yeah, I'm like, that shocked me. I was like, that's crazy information for her to be in this. She's also an actress, which is really cool. Her full name is, oh my gosh, Kashmir Trice Stanfield. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to put her name down. I think because I wanted to go to her Instagram and read that. But what else has she done? They've done ads together, which is cute. They've got children together. But I guess she hasn't done too much. I think she's more of a model. Maybe. I'm not sure. She's gorgeous though. Like, oh my god. And yeah, no, that was crazy. I was like, "Oh, okay. So this kind of movie. We've got demons and shit. Cool. Soul-sucking demons and shit." Um but yeah, so the Velvet Gang start working at the store. God, I already forgot what it was called. Metro Designers store. And, they're like, la, la, la. They're really trying to figure out where these $100,000 suits are coming because Corvette assumed it would just be a part of a new collection. And my thing was like, she's going to do this whole new release and it was going to be like a party and everything like that. And I was like, I feel like she would just debut it there and not in the stores. So it didn't make sense to me for it to be in the stores. And so Sade kind of is just like, we need to just boost it and move on because we aren't getting any information. And on the day that they plan to do it, um, all of a sudden they go in the back and there's like a meeting and everything with Grayson. And my nose is less itchy, but now I feel like I have to sneeze. Okay. They have a meeting very quickly and then they come back and everything is gone. And they're like, what the fuck happened? And so I'm trying to remember who does it. Wikipedia is not helpful. Um, Maybe Mariah does it or Sade does it. One of them is able to not only get the security footage, they also just end up quitting. And at that point, Violetta was like, no, we need to protest this place because we aren't getting paid, y'all aren't getting paid. Like, come on, we have to do something. And the girls are just like, it is what it is. We're quitting right today anyway, so it doesn't matter to us. And Violetta is just like, come on, we gotta work together. And I mean, at the end of the day, like that is kind of the theme of this movie, of like our struggles being interconnected, and if we just work together to overthrow oligarchs, we'd be in a better position. But and that's like where we get in the end. And but before that, they look at the security footage camera, and I'm like, I figured that they also did this thing where they shot it in reverse, so everything was thrown and then they reversed it. And I'm like, that's such a fun trick because I did that with the short film that I made where someone was getting beat on their hand, the hammer, and I just shot it in reverse. So it was the hammer coming off the hand, and then I reversed it in post so it can look like he's getting his hand smashed. I gotta clean up that edit a little bit more so it's more believable. But it still came out good. That's like the only like thing with that short that I want to do to it because otherwise I'm like, I'm done. I'm not touching this anymore. And the person who wrote the script really liked what I did with it too. And I'm like, that's all I need. I don't care about a grade. I just cared about how you felt, how I felt, and what my actors thought too. And everybody liked it. So that's it. Will I release it publicly? I have no idea. No idea whatsoever, because it's not, because it is a comedy, but, I'm like, no one pays attention to my podcast. But yeah, it's like a comedy about a fake company that creates curse words, and I did it in like a mockumentary style film, which, I really enjoy that, and I have like a camcorder that I used, we couldn't shoot and direct at the same time. This is for my directing final. We couldn't shoot and direct it at the same time, so I didn't shoot it. I think for my next short film though, I do want to shoot it because I want to do um some guerrilla style filmmaking where it's like no permit type shit. So it'd have to be a small, small crew, like basically me, the actors, basically two people, me, two actors, and a fourth person to be like the lookout person, essentially. Maybe the sound person. But my camera, it's a camcorder. It has its own mic as well. So it might be okay, but we'll see. But yes. So they were able to track down the person who used some sort of machine to essentially suck up all the clothing very quickly. And they're like, if we had that, we could boost way faster, way more efficiently. Our lives could be easier. And so I'm like, oh, now I need water. Jesus Christ. Need. No. Take care of yourself. Drink water. It's very important. I'm like, I just came back from the bathroom. But anyway, so um turns out this person, played by Poppy Lou, her name is Jung Hoo in the movie. She is actually from China. She worked in the, oh my god, I forgot the name of this damn store again. She worked in Metro Designers. I keep wanting to say Metro Booming, and I'm like, that's a musician. She worked at Metro Designers factory in China where they were getting paid like nothing, and people were getting lung cancer and dying actually from doing this not an acid treatment but like a just some sort of treatment that would be done to jeans in the factory, and they were just like enough is enough, and her cousin Lee Pan, played by Alan Z, were sneaking around in the um, ducts and were able to discover this machine that was being worked on in China, and either the US or another country some European country if it was in the US. And they decided to sneak and steal it and hide it. And oh, that's what it was. Their aunt actually ended up passing away, or her aunt ended up passing away, which is Lee Pin's mom, I believe. And so, yes, this device was getting created so they could cut shipping costs and make even more money because it's like, oh yeah, if you teleport a product to the person in like seconds, you're gonna save so much money on shipping. Like, wow. Um, which is so fucked up. I'm like, this is what you're gonna use that technology for? But yeah, so they stole the machines, left them in the ducts in the warehouse, but it was got to a point where the corporation was like, we need to find them. And literally were searching every single worker's like house for them. And it was just like, oh no. So Lee Pan and John Hu, ooh, I gotta work on my Chinese pronunciation actually. Um Decided to, fight back against this corrupt corporation because, like this is fucked up. They just lost a family member. No one's getting paid. The process to do the genes is endangering people's lives. And I'm like, they're not even using like any sort of PPE. They're just using like not even a mask. It's like a bandana type style thing to cover their mouth. And I'm like, yeah, of course, these people are getting cancer because they aren't even really, using proper protective gear, you know, proper equipment. Me trying to say the acronym, but fully. But, and so they decide to just steal all of the clothes from Chrissy Smith's clothing places, because, they want to just do something to hurt her like they have been hurt and like hurting her pockets is where they thought this would work out. And so while this is happening, she just assumes it's the Velvet Gang again doing this, and it's like, no, it's this other person. And so they decide to work with her to not only boost stuff, but also her Christy Smith's company. And they basically they set it up so that the teleporter sends clothes to China, and then a percentage of it is sent to Corvette's house so that they can still boost and everything like that. And at first, it's like they work together as a team. They try to establish that like this is in order to get back at Christy Smith, but also in order to have better working conditions for the people in the factories. And Corvette is kind of like about that part, but eventually she turned around in the end. But God, I just said "but" so many times. But. So what ends up happening is Lee Pin is basically shows up in a ski mask and is like, I'm the one doing this. It's not the Velvet Gang, and we have your clothes hostage. And Christy Smith is just like, I'm not falling for this. I'm not going to do anything. The working conditions are fine. Yada yada, all this nonsense. And so it gets to a point. Actually, what? I'm trying to remember. Like I saw it a few days ago, but honestly, there is so much going on in this film. Like, it's the music, it's colorful, it's vibrant. I'm like the cinematographer, Natasha Breyer, really fucking did that shit with these anamorphic lenses and working with Dan Suzaki. Oh my god, I blacked out for a second. Suzaki, who is he works with he works at Panavision. Jesus Christ. he works at Panavision, and he's the one that does the custom lenses and things, and worked directly with Natasha Breyer to create the different things that she wanted for the look of this film. And he, in general, through Panavision, does that for other cinematographers and filmmakers, and has been doing that for the last like 3 decades, um, which is really awesome. His dad is the one that kind of got him into this optics business. He went to school for it as well as an engineer, and I was like, that's such a cool fucking job. That's a cool career to have. Because I'm like, you're creating the lens and the look. And they also used vintage lenses for the specifically the demon part of the movie. Whenever I was supposed to say Shia LaBeouf, whenever Lakeith Stanfield would show up, they were using like a vintage lens to get that sort of warping. Because what Dan Suzuki was saying is like, um, nowadays in this day and age, you have these perfectly made um cameras that are like symmetrical and everything like that. But the thing about vintage lenses is that they're imperfect, which sort of mimics how our eyes are in general, which makes it really fucking cool, you know? And I'm like, oh God, I'm like, that's so, oh, I love cameras. I love lenses. I love shooting things, and I think it's really fun. And so what they were realizing, and because Violetta kind of shows up as well, because she's been like not stalking them, but like watching them. I mean, I guess, yeah, kind of stalking them a little bit. But she runs into them and tries to convince them to fight for the poor working conditions. Because again, like I said, the Velvet Gang wasn't fully on that side of doing that. And when she runs into them again, she realizes that their teleporter isn't just a teleporter, it's a situational accelerator and a deconstructioner. So when they realized there was like a deconstruction setting to it, they were like, oh, we don't even have to teleport the clothing out. We can deconstruct it, and it goes into its basic forms, like material deconstruction. And they accidentally hit, I want to say Sade with this, or was it Mariah? And when she got hit with the deconstructor, it went so far back in time that it was like her parents fucking, and I was like, oh God, that's awkward as hell. But it's like, okay, you deconstruct a person, and if the setting isn't super strong, it goes to the point of them getting conceived, and it's like, oh, that's crazy. And yeah, they accidentally hit her, and then when they hit the actual clothes, it got deconstructed to um the material of the clothing, and it was actually to the point where Junhan, she had a cut, but when they hit deconstruct on these clothing, her cut went away and it healed because the clothing was also probably clothing she had worked on. So when it got deconstructed, like her blood, sweat, and tears that went behind that clothing also went back to her body. So she was healed. And I think they also realized that when they deconstructed a lot more clothes, all the workers that worked on these clothing got more healthy. So her mom, played by Ming Sun, uh, who was actually also getting symptoms of like lung cancer, healed up after all this deconstruction because of that. And I'm like, that's really sick. And so, okay, okay, okay. So that was happening. And so, yeah, they decided to infiltrate the Metro Designers like fashion show that I was talking about. And it actually ends up they actually end up getting helped by Lakeith Stanfield's character, Pinky Ring Guy, that's such a funny, because he got a pinky ring and he's got that hair. It's got a little curl in the front. It's like, oh, who is this? And but he helps them because he's actually going to be modeling because he's a model. He'd be modeling clothes, but he's modeling for Christy Smith that night. And he does his whole thing again, and he actually admits to Corvette that he is a demon, and he does suck the souls out of people by going down on them, not just women, but also men. Like, that's just what he does, but he doesn't want to do that to her. He actually wants to get to know her, and he tells her that um he confesses this to her and everything like that. And she's just like, "No, that's okay." Like um I want to say later on in the movie. Oh, I will come back to this, but no, actually I'll just say it now. Later on in the movie, he tells her that if he falls in love, then his demonness goes away, it's resolved. And she's like, "That's great, but I can't be in a relationship where the person doesn't go down on me because I actually like that, so we can't be together." And then he just kind of walks off all sad and forlorn. And I'm like, that's the end of that part of the movie. It's like, oh my God, we got a resolution here to this. And I'm like, damn. Again, I said I'm a healed person, but I'm like, something about a guy being sincere and a little pathetic. I'm like, damn it. I want to heal you. And it's like, no, actually, it's okay. You should heal yourself, actually. And I'll be next to you, being like, cheering you on. You don't need me to do that. You can do that yourself. I need to build myself up as well. This is why I said I'm a healed person. Because, yeah, we're okay now. We're okay. So, yeah, so now they are at the fashion show trying to figure out where these fucking $100,000 suits are. Because they want to boost them and then deconstruct the rest of the clothing. Because they're like, yeah, $100,000. Turns out the $100,000 suits are human suits, and they are worn by predominant like community members who were sort of being placed throughout the universe. Like, we would see someone like Crying Black Mother, who was played by Cara Young, in the news crying about anything and everything. Um, Upstanding community member, played by Jason Ritter. And someone like Dr. Jack, who was basically doing a pyramid scheme that Sade was falling for and got Corvette involved in for a little bit, who was played by Don Cheadle. All of these people who were essentially working together to sow discourse throughout the community, honestly, uh, wear these $100,000 meat suits. And I'm like, God, yeah, I'm like, that's the psycho type shit. This is That's the things that are working against people not to have people not realize that, like, we're all on the same page, you guys. Like, that is what's happening. And so, whew, what was I going to say? So, oh, and this is when we see the stop motion and puppet stuff coming in, and I'm like, oh, this is crazy because they like take off their skin suits, and then it's just um flesh and muscle underneath. And it turns out that these people are all working together and they share their skin suits and play these characters, quote unquote. And was so fucked up. I'm like, that's crazy. But the puppetry was done by Miles Votic, who's also done stuff on Robot Chicken. He worked on the movie Marshall the Shell with Shoes and Wendell and Wild, and I'm like, oh, that's sick. And and talking about stop motion and special effects in general, because this is when we get more into the miniatures and really fun special effects, because basically they um after doing all the deconstructing and stuff of the clothes, and then they run off and find these meat suits that are $100,000. They drive off with the van of it, and then they also have um the machine, because it looks like it's just like a circular thing um that they are running around with, and the situational accelerator and whatnot. um they get into a chase, and there is some action and stuff that happens here, and there I saw some behind the scenes of this, where when the van goes through this window, it ends up being like a miniature van, and I'm like, oh, that's so cute. And there's like this whole there's a recurring theme of like all these Corvette's issues, sort of balled up and like sort of chasing her, and even that was like a miniature filmed. And so like the VFX was done by Ingenuity Studios, which sadly they're, as of this year right now, they're closing after 20 years of business, and they've done work on shows like Daredevil, Spider Noir, You. They've done movies such as this one, Him, Weapons, Companion, the new Hellraiser, um, and then the stop motion. Some additional VFX was done through a stop motion animation studio, Mysterious Media. Their website was kinda hard to navigate through, though. I was like, "Why can I not get more information?" But still, I was just like, "That really fucking sucks." Because if you go to Ingenuity Studios, like, their website, they've done so many things over the years, and it's all, like, really good work. Because honestly, it's like when you break down, like, whether you liked or hated something, when you break down like either the movie or the show, it's like every single thing that you are seeing on screen, someone someone's like physical hands is behind the work that is being shown to you. Whether it's the clothing, which would be done through the costuming, whether it's the set design, which would be, done through the production designers and stuff, and set decorators and buyers, like these there's people here making these places look and feel like real spaces for the actors to move through. And that's just like in the visuals, in the like the physicality of the film, and then you pull back and it's like the visuals and everything, like from the cinematographer to matte painters, whether that's digital or physical. And in this movie specifically, they did the old school Hollywood matte painting, like a physical painting for backgrounds. I'm like, that's really fucking sick. It's like so many people. I mean, even looking at the credits on IMDb, or even at the end of this movie, when I actually saw the credits rolling, it's like so many people worked on this. And they all deserve a living wage in general. Whether you liked the movie or not, they all deserve a living wage. Like, it shouldn't be put into question, because I remember seeing this whole thing about, I think, the set designer of Obsession talked about how she only got paid like 22K over however long the production was. And now this movie is being projected to make like hundreds of millions of dollars. And she's like, am I even going to see any of that? Because, like, haha. And it sucks that like Hollywood kind of operates in that way of like, all right, here's your little check. thank you for this movie that's going to make a lot of money and it's making a lot of money. Will you see any of that residual, you know, funds? Probably not, which really fucking sucks. And there are some people that put in these systems of like, okay, you are going to get paid this amount of money, and then if this movie makes back and then some, you'll get a bonus after the fact. But not a lot of things work on these sort of tiered payments. And I'm trying to think. Um, the movie Sing Sing, the actor, oh my god, Coleman Domingo, love him. He specified having like everyone get paid like the same, and then uh get bonuses after the movie, did a certain amount, and like not a lot of people are doing that. I'm like, I feel like that should be the standard, actually. And it sucks that it's not. Uh, but anyway, so there's a chase and everything like that, and that was really fun. And there's a whole thing where like Corvette and Sade get into more of an argument. Oh my god, now I'm choking on my own spit. And because she wants to guarantee like a future for her children, Sade does, and Corvette is just like, fuck Christy Smith, let's just destroy these. And so at the end of it all, Corvette does agree to sell them and gets Sade to run away with them. And and then there's this whole thing where Corvette is using a device to go between China and the Chinese factory in America to sow discourse between the factory workers and like the staff that work there, like the higher ups that work there. And this helps her like want to be on the side of the workers and them. And then she goes back to the Chrissy Teigen fashion show. Christy Smith. Oh my god. Fashion show. And they use like Violetta is there and she's trying to, protest and everything like that. She's handing out flyers and stuff to all the people that are there because it's mostly like the supervisors and everything like that. But they're not really on the same page. And then, God, I forget whose idea this was. It might have been Violetta. It might have been um, Corvette. Somebody decides to do this, but they use the situational accelerator button on the machine on the crowd, which causes them to basically, because it's an accelerator, it accelerates them to the point where they would protest, and then they end up protesting Christy Smith, which gets the workers in China to have their rights. It gives them higher wages and everything like that, and essentially fucks over Christy Smith. But because of them protesting, both at the fashion show and at the factory, it sparks a worldwide worker protest where it's workers' rights and everything, and people are, getting better working conditions, but getting better pay. And it's like, wow, if we work together, you can be the change you want to see, basically. And then it goes into, Christy Smith is just like, you can't stop me. Da 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 da. There's gonna be some other big bad, and Corvette is like, you also boost from people. Oh no, no, sorry. Christy Smith says this to Corvette, and oh my god, I really do need some water. I'm almost done talking. I swear. Uh, Corvette. It's just like, I'm not like you. I'm for the people, basically. We are for philanthropy and everything like that. And you're nothing, essentially. And then we get the scene that I was talking about where, like it goes away, where Lakeith Stanfield's character comes to her and she's like, I could be real, a real person. And she's like, yeah, no, I can't do that because I like oral. Sorry, bud. And then we also find out that Yuho's mother no longer has cancer because of the deconstruction that happened. And it ends with the Velvet Gang creating a community center for selling affordable clothing. Like, wow, happy ending. Workers' rights. Fuck capitalism, essentially. Like that's like Boots Riley is a communist, like he's a self-professed communist, and all of his ideals and stuff are very heavily written in this movie. And I'm like, it's like almost sci-fi in a way. Like I was saying, it is the afro surrealism because it is sort of within reality, but at an elevated point because there is the level of surrealism going on and everything like that. And and a level of exaggeration that happens with the situations and stuff. There's that sci-fi element with the teleporter and the deconstruction and the accelerated the situational accelerator aspect of it all. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. It was really fun and very colorful. Love seeing it in theaters. I was kind of late to watching this because it was no, I was late to watching this, but I knew I would be okay because I live in Oakland and he's from the town. So I knew this was going to stay in at least Grand Lake Theater, if not any other theater here. And it's still there. I'm like, it's probably going to be there for it's probably going to be there until like July maybe. And it's been out since like May 22nd. But I follow Boots on Twitter and I tweeted to him that I was finally seeing it and then he liked it and reposted it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I love that. And I can finally say I've marked safe from Boots Riley because everybody would be posting about trying to see it, and then he would respond to them. And he's been like self promoting it a lot because they didn't have the same marketing budget, and something like Backrooms and Obsession are kind of overtaking the box office. Plus, there's that Mandalorian movie, like I was saying. It's like this is a smaller film and it's kind of niche. It's weird. Very unique though, very creative. But it's like, it could be a hard sell for people and it's just there's these other movies that are doing better. And like I was saying, it's like when bigger known movies from well known studios come out, they push out the smaller movies. So even though his movie was available in a lot more theaters after the first week, it went to like half of that, which is why he kept again self-promoting and going around and telling people to go see it when they can, because if you wait in certain parts of the country, it'll just be gone. Or it'll go to like split screenings, which is like when there's only one showing in the morning and one showing late at night, which is really fucking awful. I hate that shit. And oh, he said that it's coming to Europe and worldwide in October, so they don't have to worry about any big movies or anything being out during that time. But yeah, I'm like, even though there was like soul sucking demons and miniatures and all this stuff, it's like I didn't feel it was fun to follow along. There's like the hi ho, ha 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 ho song by the Tune Yards that's really fun. It's like the theme of it. Really fun soundtrack in general. It's not that long either. It's like an hour 40. I'm like, yeah, even though there was a demon in this, I didn't feel like I was forcing myself to watch a 3-hour movie because I just wanted to understand it more. And like, yeah, people did walk out of this, but I'm like, y'all are just not, where's your whimsy? Like I heard, like I saw somebody say, it's like, there's so much going on in this. And yes, I'm like, I get people not liking it, but it is creative. And I'm like, y'all want original ideas, and here you go. And you don't want to support it? Okay. But anyway, that's going to be it for this week. You can follow me on Instagram at v_noir_. Uh, Support me on Patreon at patreon.com/v noirs film club. There will be a live version, like me talking to the camera version of this under like my paid tier, like $3 a month or something. This will be the first one of the month. And yeah, that'll be all. I'll see y'all next time. Bye. Oh wait, no, I forgot. You can go to my podcast archive at NWWITA I plan on writing a bunch of blog posts on there as well. And especially because I'm caught up on all my short reviews, my quick reviews of films. So now I don't have to do that anymore of like recording and then editing. Now I just need to post them. And yeah, that'll be all. It's Noir with a E, so NOIRE, not without the E. And yeah, stay hydrated because it's been hot. Take your allergy meds if you have allergies. And like if your face is scratchy in any way, get an allergy med, please. And yeah, till next time. Bye.